Hello everyone, today's World Mental Health Day 2024. If you're watching this video at a later time, that's when I'm filming it. I'm wearing yellow because in the UK we have a campaign called Hello Yellow, which is about promoting awareness of children and young people's mental health. In the UK, 1,500,000 referrals are made to camps every day, 1 million referrals are made every year at the moment. And 3 referrals are made to camps just for anxiety every 3 minutes. We also know that mental health issues are underreported and under-supported. So it's an epidemic issue. I feel compelled to make a video about what the problems with World Mental Health Day are. Controversial. So World Mental Health Day is a very important day for awareness raising and reducing stigma. So we want to be able to make mental health something that everyone can talk about. The problem is, it's the definitions and terminology. So the layperson can talk about mental health, meaning lack of or lack of mental health or presence of mental health issues or mental health problems. So you might hear people casually saying, oh, I'm really struggling with my mental health. Like, my mental health's not so good today. We don't talk about our physical health like that. Oh, my physical health's not so good. Like, I've got a bit of a sniffle, feeling hormonal. Yeah, I'm really struggling with my physical health today. We don't talk like that, do we? But there's this kind of misconception that that's how we should talk about mental health, where actually mental health means to be mentally healthy. Mental health problem, mental illness, and then I saw on Twitter somebody put mental health illness, and like, that's the most confusing thing. So there's just all this confusing terminology. What I've also started to notice is that well-being is starting to be used as a lack of or an absence of rather than the presence of. So when we are doing days like World Mental Health Day, a very important day to raise awareness, you can look at it like, are we raising awareness of mental health problems to reduce stigma, to increase awareness, to notice signs and symptoms earlier so we can access support earlier? Or are we, and make it okay for those people that are struggling with severe and enduring mental illnesses to feel safe and to talk about it, to reduce the stigma, to make mental health everyone's business, which is what we need to do, because everyone needs to look after and maintain their mental health in the same way as they look after and maintain their physical health. Not many people treat their mental health in the same way as they treat their physical health. So people might actively keep an eye on what they're eating, because they don't want to become overweight, and that's unhealthy. They might drink less alcohol because they don't want to drink too much, because that's unhealthy. They want to regularly exercise and get their 10,000 steps in and train at the gym or swim or run or do dancing or yoga or whatever the thing is they like to do, because that's good for their physical health. Those things are also good for their mental health too, but they are not the only things that are good for your mental health. So quite often there's a rhetoric of exercise is the cure for mental health, and that was one of the themes of Mental Health Week last year. So there's Mental Health Day in October, there's Mental Health Week in May, and then there's Children's Mental Health Week, which is in February. So we've got all these weeks and years and days and things that are about improving mental health, or raising awareness of mental health problems, I should say. And sometimes they're about improving strategies for mental health, and sometimes they're not. So it's just a whole mishmash of confusion. No wonder everyone's confused. No wonder people don't know what to do. So as a positive psychologist that specialises in the early prevention of mental health problems in children and young people, what we need to be doing is consciously choosing to make an effort to protect our mental health and promote strategies for well-being in ourselves as individuals, in the communities and organisations that we exist within, in that school communities, settings that support children and young people, workplaces, and the wider society and communities and the world in general. If we did that, we would not have all the problems that we're having with war and riots and selfish people making decisions at the top of the trees that impact at the top of the ladder, you know, in governments and things, that is just impacting on everybody. Because we'd have this more conscious collective way of thinking that's about people and about humanity. I've gone on a tangent, but How we intentionally choose to improve our mental health is, first of all, we have to learn resources and strategies for improving mental health and well-being. Positive psychology is the way to do that. Positive psychology is the well-being science of evidence-based strategies that improve mental health and well-being. So I was thinking, what do I do every day to consciously look after and maintain my well-being levels and my mental health? So today I've had to like drop my car off an MOT. So instead of like getting an Uber home, I thought, oh, I'll just walk home. And then over the canal was a beautiful scene. It's the canal in Loughborough. It's hardly like scenic. And the sun was in the clouds and it was just stunning. So just for a moment, I stopped and I savoured it and I noticed it. So savouring is an evidence-based positive psychology practice. I do that all the time. I do that all the time. Oh, here's a beautiful autumn leaf. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, my kids are laughing and smiling. Oh, that's lovely. My son was playing rugby the other weekend and he was like, they were doing a pylon because their coach was leaving, so they were jumping on the coach. And I looked at his little face and he was smiling and so full of joy like for doing that, and I just banked that as a micro moment. So the ways to improve your mental health is to bank micro moments, and it's all these millions and millions and millions of micro moments that add up to protecting your mental health and well-being. We are always going to have adversity and challenges and stress. We have to consciously choose to build our resource bank internally so that when a challenge happens, when a struggle happens, we know how to navigate that. We know how to deal with it. It can be sitting in the emotion and feeling the emotion instead of running away from it, avoiding it, and using all different coping strategies to distract yourself from feeling the feeling. The quicker you sit in the feeling and label the feeling and experience it, no matter how uncomfortable and unpleasant that is, the quicker you move through it. So positive psychology isn't all about rainbows and sunshine and positive emotions, although that's a big part of it. It's also about being aware of your resilience and your resourcefulness to deal with challenges, to deal with setbacks, to understand yourself, to self-regulate through those things, to express emotion in healthy, helpful ways. Like anger and shame and guilt, they're not negative emotions. They're labeled as negative emotions. They're not negative. They are helpful signposts to address something underneath that's traumatic for us that we maybe need to address and get out of our system. So a lot of like positive psychology work is about recognizing your strengths and what makes you unique and wonderful and amazing as a human being, and how you can understand your strengths and express your strengths and use your strengths and share your strengths and use them more and play to your strengths, because that has this like spiraling up a cycle where you actually feel good and function well. So positive mental health or well-being is defined as feeling good, functioning well day to day and overall, good for those around, good for me and good for those around me. That's how I define it. So it's kind of a paraphrasing of the Neff's dynamic model of well-being. So I've got like a little video about what is well-being. I'll link to that above. So well-being is something that we have to consciously work towards. So well-being is about feeling good. It is about emotional regulation, emotional literacy, experience of positive emotions. We don't experience enough joy in our lives. Joy doesn't come along and land in your lap whilst you're watching Netflix at home. You have to consciously seek it. You have to go out there and make an effort to have more joy in your life. It's hard. You have to reach out to people. You have to be vulnerable. You have to say to people, I'm sorry, I messed up, when you've messed up and maybe ruined a connection. You have to like take risks to go somewhere new or do something new. When you really want to do a thing and you've got no one to go with you, and it's a thing that gives you joy, I don't know, dancing, spinning, wine tasting, going to park run, whatever the thing is you want to try out and you think, I can't do that because I've got no one to go with, but doing that thing would give you joy. You have to kind of push yourself through the discomfort of stretching out of your comfort zone to do that thing, and then the benefits rewards, you get the joy, but then you get the sort of cumulative effect of the process of doing that and the experience of joy on top. But that's an intentional choice. That's takes effort. Well-being isn't something that comes naturally to the human race because of negativity bias. Because negativity bias grabs our attention and makes us focus on the negatives and the shame and the discomfort and the fear and the anxiety and the stress. That grabs our attention. That's more powerful than all the good things that happen to us in our lives, which we kind of delete from our brains and don't really notice, or they just pass us by. So we have to train our brains to consciously choose to focus on those positive aspects in life that bring you joy and contentment and love and comfort and serenity and all these different positive emotions. One of the most important positive emotions is love, because love helps all the other positive emotions to be more amplified. So if we can help people, oh God, it sounds so cliche and cheesy, and it's just, makes me want to cringe. But yeah, you have to learn to love yourself. Easier said than done, but that's the key to a lot of this mental health problems, is people are looking outward to fix their problems, or they're looking for a quick fix, medication or a silver bullet intervention, a CBT, that will do it. Whereas actually it's a range of many things, multiple tiny things that add up to improve your mental health and protect your well-being. So you have to consciously choose that. But know what, on World Mental Health Day, that isn't happening. What is happening is, let's talk about mental health. Oh, I've got a mental health problem. Have you got a mental health problem? Oh yeah, I've got a mental health problem. It's bad, isn't it? Oh, it's really bad. Okay, that's that. Or we use mental health campaigns and we say, ask for help. It's really important that if you're struggling with your mental health, you reach out and you ask for help. They've even started the phone line service where you can ring up 111 and say, I'm struggling. But if there's nowhere to refer people onto to get the help, it's kind of worse than saying don't then ask for help in the first place, because it just reaffirms all the things that you thought about yourself, that you're useless and worthless and there was no point, because you asked for help, you reached out, you did a vulnerable thing, and then there's no help on the other end of the line. There isn't any help. Or you reach out and you ask for help to people who are not able to listen, because people don't have the skills to listen to you sometimes. They might mean well, they might want to help you, but they just can't because they haven't been able to train, or they're just dealing with their own stuff's going on in their head and things that they just can't be there for somebody else. They can't be present. And maybe they're not even aware enough to know that that's what they are like. So the problems with World Mental Health Day are, it's only a day. We should be consciously looking after our mental health every day. It raises awareness of issues, but it doesn't necessarily provide support and strategies to be able to then support and help those issues. It's just part of a bigger, it's like a loaded thing. It can be used as a tokenistic opportunity to tick a box to make your organisation or your school look good. Oh, well, we did stuff on World Mental Health Day. Oh, what did you do? Oh, we did a bake-off. And we all did a gratitude exercise. And then we tried yoga. Wow. That's going to do fuck all in the grand scheme of things. I'm sorry. It just makes me mad. It's just don't bother. Just don't bother. Because it's just a slap in the face to most people. What you need to do is be using those days, and I've got videos on this as well, is using those days to have conversations about how do we need to change things in our organisation to change all the small things that are causing us to feel stressed and have anxiety and feel like we're unable to reach out and ask for help and be vulnerable and share our emotions and offload and find strategies that help us. What's preventing us from doing that as a collective? So how can we come together as a group and actually ask these tough questions and come up with some solutions and some answers? So I've gone on a bit of a rant today, but I wanted to say there are some problems with World Mental Health Day. It's a really important day. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying do it with the wisdom of clarity of what it is. So if you are doing it to raise awareness of mental health problems and conditions so people can identify with them, again, that's an issue. because then you're self-labeling and you're like, oh, I'm really depressed, I'm really anxious. Well, actually, you might just be having a natural stress reaction. You might have had a bereavement recently and actually you're really, really sad. That's normal. That's normal for you to feel sad if you've had a bereavement. It's not depression, it's grief. You know, things like that. So it can raise awareness and actually cause misdiagnosis, and kind of then you look for evidence to prove yourself right that you've got that thing, and then you tune your brain into looking at that problem and finding more things to prove yourself right with the cognitive bias. Yes, I am anxious. Look at this thing I can't do. Look at this thing I can't do. Look at this thing I can't do because I'm anxious. Whereas actually it's maybe more important to use World Mental Health Day to think about how do we consciously make an effort to improve strategies to improve our health. It's not called World Mental Illness Day, is it? It's called World Mental Health Day. So somewhere in this video is some useful information for people. I just felt compelled to make a video today. Probably irritate some people with this video, but you know, I'm trying to be my authentic self these days and speak from the heart a little bit more about how I really feel about things. So that's what I'm doing today. So have a good day. If you're wearing yellow, I hope you look fantastic and you're dressed as a giant banana. But if and that you're making it okay for the children and the young people in your school or setting to feel more able to ask for help for their mental health earlier, and you are providing resources and strategies and information and interventions, and you are not just passing the buck, that you're actually doing something about it. So I'll see you again on the next video. Like and subscribe. Join my Worth It Coach training course. Bye for now.